I'm coming at you live on tape from Sydney, Ohio. And this week's movie is the wonderful movie Tiptoes. It is the real life story of Matthew McConaughey and his dwarf family, even though he hates dwarves, and him having a child who's a dwarf who he abandons. This is based on Matthew McConaughey's real story of his dwarf family and the dwarf child he abandoned long ago. It starts out with his dwarf brother, Rolf, played by Gary Oldman. This has Gary Oldman as a dwarf in it, who looks like Jeff Foxworthy and sounds like Jeff Foxworthy. So he's Jeff Foxworthy, dwarf Gary Oldman. So you know the movie's going to be good. Traveling with Peter Dinklage on motor tricycle things down the highway to a song. We then go to Matthew McConaughey, who's leaving his girlfriend, Kate Beckinsale, to go to the Little Person Defense League meeting. Now, Kate Beckinsale's met none of his family at this point, and he's leaving her to go spend time with his family. Then we see Maurice, who's Peter Dinklage's character, picking up Patricia Arquette, who just got kicked off a bus. Now, I don't know what it takes to get kicked off a bus, but it takes a lot, and that would be a red flag there, but not for Maurice, who's French and is looking to get some tail. So then we go to the Little People Defense League, where Jerry Robin Jr., played by David Allen Greer, yes, David Allen Greer is in this movie, because at the time, Hollywood had a rule that at least one classically trained Shakespearean actor must be in every bad movie. So he is in this movie as Jerry Robin Jr., a singer who likes to hook up with dwarven women. Now, I'm not talking dwarfs as in Middle Earth dwarfs. I'm talking dwarfs as in short people. And the Little People Defense League, they dance and eat. And finally, his brother, Rolf, gets there, played by Gary Oldman, at the end of things. And they talk, him and Matthew McConaughey talk. And Maurice and Lucy, Patricia Arquette's character, go in to try to get food, but they get kicked out. Matthew McConaughey goes home to his wife, or his girlfriend, who reveals she's pregnant. And it blows Matthew McConaughey's mind. And then Rolf and Maurice go to get a hotel room with Lucy, and the hotel room clerk thinks Lucy is a prostitute, but he agrees to give them the last hotel room. At which point Lucy and Maurice get drunk, and Maurice falls off the bed. At which point Rolf tries to call a doctor. Maurice says no doctor, and then Rolf leaves. Maurice is left there in pain from little people shit. That's what he ate before he started drinking, was little people shit. Rolf then goes to his ex-girlfriend, or his on and off girlfriend, Sally, who's another little person. Go get a blowjob. But Sally's current boyfriend walks in, who's a security guard and non-little person, and beats Rolf up. At which point Matthew McConaughey, who's left his house already to go to the finals where he's training firemen, Rolf goes to his house and meets Matthew McConaughey's girlfriend, Carol, who did not know that Matthew McConaughey's entire family were little people. And she is worried about the baby. Rolf takes her to meet the family. And they assure her that a little person is happy, healthy, and can live a productive life, although they can't reach things on the top shelf. But then again, my sister's not a little person, and she can't reach things on the top shelf either. So then they invite Matthew McConaughey's character of Stephen to a party at Jerry Robin Jr.'s house the next night, where I swear every little person in Hollywood is in this scene. Even at one point, Carol is dancing with Beetlejuice. And at this point, Maurice gets in an argument with the leader of the Little People League, Defense League, Stephen and Ralph's uncle, because Maurice thinks that little people should take their rights by the barrel of a gun, and their uncle thinks that they should fight for their rights legally. And they find Sally banging Jerry Robin Jr., because as I said before, he has a thing for little people. So Ralph, Stephen, and Carol go home to Stephen's place, where we found out Stephen has a thing against little people and doesn't want Carol to have the baby. Carol, of course, refuses. She, of course, is having the baby. And she tells Stephen to get some counseling. We then go to Carol's parents coming to Stephen's place, and they are a little weirded out that Stephen's whole family is little people. But then they have to bring up a touchy subject. They want Stephen and Carol to have a Jewish wedding. No one has a problem with. So then we go to the Jewish wedding. They don't do the chair dance, which I'm surprised. But I don't think little people could have to chair up very high with Matthew McConaughey on it. But they do the breaking of the glass thing, Mazel Tov thing. And it's a Jewish wedding. So apparently they fish. Some kind of nasty fish thing. Fish in Jello. I think that's a Jewish dish. Wow, that was racist. I probably lost every viewer I have. Okay, we're going away from the racism now. At the end of which, Carol thanks Rolf for all his help. And then we go to the baby, who is born a dwarf. And Stephen punches out a wall. The doctor goes over what they're going to have to do, and the doctor recommends Stephen get some counseling. Because he has this thing against dwarfs, who he is now the father of one of, and has an entire family of. Well, when they bring the baby home finally, it is not working, because Stephen has a thing against dwarves. So Carol takes the baby and goes to Rolf, who is staying with Maurice and Lucy, Patricia Arquette's character, at Rolf and Stephen's parents' cabin up in the woods. At which point, Maurice and Lucy are fighting a lot. And Lucy leaves in the middle of the night, but Rolf is actually being a good parent to the baby. So then Stephen comes to visit, and Stephen's like, I'm working on it. And they're like, how are you? He doesn't say how he's working on it. He's just like, I'm working on it. But he leaves angrily. And so then Rolf and Carol kiss at the end, under the stars. And that's the end of the movie. We assume Rolf and Carol will get married. And Stephen goes far away to die in a fire somewhere. That's the end of Tiptoes. It is a strange, strange movie with a lot of little people. I kind of remembered seeing little people boobs in this movie from the first time I watched it, but then I watched it again to review this movie, and there are no little people boobs in it. Disappointingly. It is well acted at parts, and Matthew McConaughey does a decent job. We get to see Gary Oldman as a dwarf doing a Jeff Foxworthy impression, looking like Jeff Foxworthy. So that is a selling point. It's on Amazon Prime and Freevee. Oh yes, the song. Oh, I should say, I don't know if this movie's a drama or a comedy. I mean, it's got comedy stuff in it. It's got drama stuff in it. I'm not sure which one it is. It might be a romantic comedy, for as far as I know, but I don't think it is. I think it's supposed to be a drama. Yay, the ghost hasn't stolen my notebook again. There are people who call them names, and there are people who laugh at them. There are people who think they're to blame, and there are people who say they're too little and have no peace and rest. There are people who treat them as equal and treat them as they're the best. Dwarves, dwarves everywhere, they're in your towns, they're in your chairs. Dwarves, dwarves everywhere, treat them right, treat them fair. They're no different from you or me, just more compact, so let them be. They prefer to be called little people. But I think that title is unjust. I think it makes them sound like they're less worthy people. And in reality, they're just like us. They shop and attend school, may even someday rise up and rule. I will gladly bow to my new dwarf masters and highlight my height as a tool. Dwarves, dwarves everywhere, they're in your towns or in your chairs. Dwarves, dwarves everywhere, treat them right, treat them fair. They're no different from you or me, just more compact, so let them be. There's a ton of hate against them, and a lot of rude things said. We shouldn't condemn them, because they're different. We should take an interest in things they have to say, so we can grow as a people, because we're all special in our own way. Dwarves, dwarves everywhere, they're in your towns, they're in your chairs. Dwarves, dwarves everywhere, treat them right, treat them fair. No different from you or me, just more compact, so let them be. That is the song Dwarves Everywhere. And next week's movie is Pentagon War, The Pentagon War on HBO Max. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, I don't know, watch one of my other videos.